see. Sorry. I'm done. I promise I'm done. I gotta be careful what I say now. So. June 2019 is when I got my license, and I started here July. I realized that Keller Williams is going to be the best place on the planet because of the technology and the people here. When I first got started, I started knocking on everybody's doors. What do I do? What do I do? Can I do an open house? What the heck is escrow? You know. So everybody here is really cool about it. If you don't have any listings, you can always find one. Now it is no longer allowed for you to do any open houses for anybody that isn't part of Keller Williams, or at least part of our broker, for that matter. So, before you could was kind of different, but it's better off that way anyways. Why would you be marketing EXP's listing? You know? Or, I mean, I always looked at it as taking their leads, but. So, if you don't have signs, what would you do?
You can borrow.
Borrow signs.
Actually, the office has signs for the.
We got some, we have some, George, I think has a bunch. Most agents, I'd like other people use my signs too. So that's not a big deal. But these are limiting beliefs that some people might have. Some people say they don't really work because most people look online and things like that. That's not true. That's not true. Still today, open houses are one of the strongest ways that you can incorporate forms of lead generation that you can incorporate into your business. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
So those have done it?
Yes.
And I won't feel safe. This is understandable. It's all right. Go get your CCW. If anybody wants to mess with you, say, calm down, buckaroo. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Or do it. All right. So open houses, who benefits?
Sellers, buyers, neighbors.
The sellers benefit. Why do the sellers benefit? Tell me.
And more exposed.
More traffic.
More exposure, more traffic to the property, right? What about the buyers? Why do they benefit?
They can walk through it and see if it's something that matches their needs.
Yeah, but what else? What else? Why else would a buyer benefit in coming into your open house?
Because if they're not represented by an agent, guess what? They might have just found one.
Yeah.
Because what happens if they go in and they find an EXP agent or a Remax agent? What's that? Do they care as much as you?
Well, they don't.
Right? So neighbors, why do they benefit?
Because they can, they think on selling the property, they can see what is the value
Alright,
and how can they compare the home.
good job.
Well, they get to choose the neighbor, if, you know, they wanna keep their neighborhood safe,
It's my favorite.
yeah.
I call it the choose your neighbor, the choose your neighbor event. Hi neighbors, I'm gonna be holding a choose your neighbor event. You guys should come by and see if you got anybody that wants to move in. Benefits of open houses, inexpensive. Prospecting tools, there's a high return on investment, ROI, and finding qualified leads. What better place to find buyer leads than somebody who shows up to a house that's for sale? You guys can cold call leads all day long and dial and circle prospect. Circle prospecting is, let's say, circle prospecting is also great too, and we'll probably be talking about that. Circle prospecting is where, let's say you have a house for sale and you call all of the neighbors, right, or the block around it. You door knock that area. Qualified, most of those people may not be ready to sell. It's a long-term nurture type thing. You might get lucky, somebody else is ready to sell. Qualified, these buyers are gonna come in, these are people already looking at houses. I've had people come in open houses that were working with agents in the Valley. I'm like, well, how's that going for you? Do they have access to the local MLS? Why aren't they here showing the property with you? And next thing you know, they're like, well, we'd rather work with you. We can go cancel our contract with them because you seem like you care. Right?
Yes.
All right. So one of the best practices for open houses is be purposeful and not entrepreneurial. You gotta set your goals. And from what it sounds like with my buddy Noe, am I saying that correctly? It sounds like he could have done some better, goal setting, right? If you planned a little bit more, you would have gotten there the day before, you would have done that. It's very, very purposeful.
Yes, another thing was that the client that came in, had a question about property closer to an area.
Uh-huh.
And I just saw that had I studied the area and actually looked for properties that were around that were similar, I could actually say, I actually have something for you. Leave your phone number, I'll call you later.
Yeah, it would have given you time to actually follow up with those people.
Yeah. I did
Um,
find it and reach out in email. She didn't leave her phone number.
And it's not uncommon that you get, because you're doing it the same day, and you need to get into a conversation with somebody because they're interested and they have questions for you, you can't. You need to be at the open house in 15 minutes. So if you're trying to do that door knocking. So if you would have gotten there the day before, even 2 days before, hey, if somebody wanted to talk to you right there, wanted to do a consultation right on the spot, hey, no problem. Hey, look, I got everything together, ready to go.
Yeah.
You must have dialed 1-800-COLL-ECT because I'm ready to do collect. That's it. That's what we do. Think about your market numbers. So pick the house, think about, so when you're picking the house, could you tell me why it would be important to think about your market numbers? Everybody,
You can provide the, whoever you encounter, you can tell them what's going on in the area.
right, so that's extremely important. So there's two things with that. When you're picking your open house, right, it might be nice to go pick a $2 million listing. But what's the average market number over here? Are a lot of people buying $1 million listings over here?
No.
Where are you gonna get the most traction and the highest odds of getting leads?
On the best price property.
On the best price property, right?
Yeah,
But also, the business you do is the business that you do. So where do you want to position yourself in our market? What type of open houses are you wanting to do? Are you gonna do you want to do an open house on a condo that's worth 100 or 280,000, 300,000? Or you want to do a house on the higher end, average price range of 520,000, 480,000? Which one makes more sense for your business? Now, as much as doing a $1.1 million house in Palmdale would be nice, the odds of you getting very many leads of people that other than just looky-loos, like neighbors coming in, the odds of you getting very many leads on that house locally, is probably pretty low. Now, if you had one of my listings in Moore Park where we have it listed at 2.4, but there is people with money in that area, you could have a pretty good open house. So look, know the numbers on the market, right? Also providing them to anybody that comes in. Prepare and practice. So consider inviting a speaker such as an inspector or a lender. It's always good. You can always have a lender come in with you. They'll also get to market their business during your open house. And if for whatever reason they have questions about getting pre-qualified or pre-approved, who do they get to talk to? The lender. What if they have questions about the house? And nothing makes anybody more comfortable about a house if you have somebody that's already there willing to talk to them about what's going on and get it. Question?
Yeah, I had interesting experience with the lender. They always offer to do this, to come with you to the open house. And then let me know if you have an open house that can be there and qualified buyers, on the spot. And I never really got to use them because I figure I don't know how the open house is gonna be. And I've had open house where there's a lot of people coming in that you lose track who came into the house. You wanna make sure you get everybody. And it's sometimes it's like that, but sometimes might be just one person, right? But what I found out with the lender is I reached out to a lender and the lender prepared the flyer for me with his information in mind and QR and everything. I almost didn't have to do anything. I could have just had them do it for me.
Right,
And he would say, I'm gonna be ready on the phone if they need to be qualified. I'll send you some forms they can fill out. So the lenders help with the open house greatly.
right.
If you can have them help.
They do, they can. And technically speaking, you are not licensed to be a financial advisor or to give anybody, lending advice. So the best thing to do is have somebody, because you could be wrong, things change all the time too, the stuff that you do know might be gone the next day, there's constantly changes and updates and things where I've made it sound like, wait, is that still, actually, no, that's the way you stuff it. So it's good to have the professional. Pick the time and theme. I don't know what I mean by theme, but Thursday night happy hour, wine, cheese, open house, Sunday afternoon. So, I guess I get the theme thing, because I just did it with a broker open. Broker open is like an open house. However, you invite the brokers directly, right? It's more geared for the agents. But mine ended up being both, right? And it was, we marketed both. We had both buyers and brokers, agents in there. And I had a live Spanish guitar, I had charcuterie, I had champagne, right?
You had a whole thing going.
I had the whole thing.
I want to share something on theme, which I thought was brilliant from George Lopez. George Perez, wow.
George.
So George had landed this listing and it was right in front of an elementary school. So what he decided to do was hold an open house 7 days a week, literally, and he would call it coffee with moms or coffee with school moms.
I love that.
So he had the gallon of coffee, he had his donuts going, and every time all the parents would show up to drop off the kids, he was there, they come in, blah, blah. After school, it was like, after school snacks with the kids, and he'd have the after school snacks for the kids. And sure enough, it was one of those parents that came to one of those open houses during the week that ended up purchasing the home. And he made that his home base or his work office until it closed. Like he just used it and just had that traffic continuing to come, because even though the house was already pending, he was still generating leads from it and like wouldn't stop.
Yeah, so George is really good at that. There's a few agents that have. Listen, you can work from here in the office, or you can create your own office anywhere. That's the beautiful thing about real estate. And so sometimes if you can figure out an open house that you can do 7 days a week or multiple, right? Why not just work from there? They got Wi-Fi. Open up the business. Yeah, there's a few agents that have done that here. And it's up to them, right? But even if you don't get anybody, at least your signs are out there on the street. People are seeing your face.
And not only that, but I think as a seller, I'm gonna see the effort that this agent is making and the impact that it's gonna bring the buyers to you, because now they're seeing you just not a standard realtor, but you creative.
Right.
So, that helps a lot. I had a few years ago, I had a listing that it wasn't moving because of the price, as Nikko said. And I did a broker open house, and thank you, Jesus, as the realtor brought the buyer, and it benefit the seller, because he wanted to sell, and it made me look good in front of the seller because he saw that the effort was being done, so.
Right. So that it really is, it really can be. It really does, it benefits your business in a lot of ways. Sometimes, if the people are still living in the property, obviously that's not gonna be possible 5 days every week, or even certain times. Go ahead.
Yeah, one experience that I learned is that a client of mine told me when they had listed the house, one thing they didn't like about the agent they had hired was that the agent was selling all the property. They were recording, and they heard when the agent is telling about the other property. So the client felt that you're not really selling my property, you're just generating leads and selling all the property. I don't like that. So that was like a negative comment against an agent. So we have to be careful, try to sell the property. And then if that is a prospect that does not qualify for whatever reason, cannot buy it, do a follow-up call and then do that, not at the property.
Yeah, it can get tricky like that. Yeah, knowing when you're being recorded, right? So. There's not much you can really do about that. So. All right. You guys give me 1 second. I have to run and use the restroom. I'll be right back and we'll get jumping on this, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I remember that in school, stage is,
That's what.
open houses close to school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he generated so many leads just from that.
Yeah. And now that in the area, because I have one listing close to school,
Uh-huh,
like a half a block away from.
oh, that was perfect.
Dorian, we did that, we're doing that with, Midnight. I think she's right there. So the home there near the school.
Yeah.
We went and print the flyers and we were passing out, we checked the time that the school was closing and it's been like water and chips in her car and we were doing that, yeah. So I think we just have to, in this market, we just have to get creative.
Yeah, think outside the box, for sure.
I was doing open house this Saturday, and after I finished my open house on the east side of Huntsville, dear Lord, I never seen so many signs on the street.
Yeah.
Like a lot of realtors were doing open houses.
Starbucks stuff. I hate that stuff myself.
Cassandra, is that your bike out there? Very cool.
You can be there.
How long have you been riding for?
Like 5 years. Okay. Yeah. My husband, well, we both, I guess, have midlife crises, so.
I was running late, so I thought it was like super late. I didn't get to admire it. What kind of bike is it?
Oh, it's a Sportster. He wanted a road glide and he wanted me on the back and I'm like, oh, no, probably not. We'll just both get one.
Yeah.
Both going. I'm like, I'll follow you. I just want to ride my own.
Yeah.
It was super cold coming in this morning now.
I
I
bet.
forgot my gloves. Well, my body was good, but my hands, I forgot my gloves and I was like, cause the gloves, like I have children's size,
Oh.
so it doesn't work right. I'm like,
Soon as you let me know, you could sign up.
no.
Yeah.
I had some basil, pants at the plaza, so I had those as well, and like. My wife, like, it was my mom's short, and it's just harder for me to try to shit, like, the other things. They're the one who decide, like,
See, look, from my experience, what I've seen is that the husbands, you know, oh, I'm okay with it, but do you still? You know what I mean?
Right, they're upstairs, so.
And for some reason, I always hear that first, they say, oh, it's a little bit harder to find. Is that something with somebody? And I said, what if you guys qualify that? I always try to go more to the ladies.
Yeah.
Guys have more. Yeah, like for us, it's not taking them. Like, we used to ride a lot of road stations or like, right? Maybe, yeah, so we're that, we're gonna say one before we sell it, we're gonna say one, so then it was kind of. Now it's at bikes and then we got more bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be a problem, she told me. Yeah, don't mention it to me.
Where's the teacher?
He's in.
He's my TV.
Yeah, MVP.
Wanna teach us?
Yeah, I do. I'll teach you this. Ooh. You guys wanna learn this real quick?
Yes,
Alright, I'm gonna try to do it fast. But when he walks back in, the time's up.
all right.
Alright.
Take time to do this.
Okay, so real quick, I don't have much time. This is gonna be really confusing, but I'm gonna go over this real fast. This is about investing. This is totally different than your class. I'm just doing it for fun to fill time until he gets in the bathroom. So when you buy a house, remember this is investing. What is this about? Okay, when you buy a house, when you get a loan for a house, they need credit, they need income, they want a down payment. Those are gonna be the main factors. There's other factors as well, as like reserves in the bank and all kinds of stuff, right? But would everyone agree, credit, income, and down payment are gonna be the most important things when it comes to buying a single family home?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, he's here. See you guys later.
Oh.
I'm gonna try to go fast. Maybe we could teach this another time. But they need credit, income, and down payment, right? And whenever they qualify for a house, what are they qualifying that says you are able to buy a house? Who?
The buyer.
The buyer, right? Okay, so on a multifamily or commercial property, oh, there it is. Thank you so much. Multifamily or commercial property, they also want to look at credit, income, and down payment, right? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Awesome. When they're qualifying you to buy multifamily, who are they qualifying?
The property thing.
Right, is that on here?
No? No.
Okay, right, you're right. They qualify the property, right? Not you, the property.
Yeah.
So all of you that said, I have bad credit, I got no income, and I got no down payment, you could buy commercial property.
Mhm,
You just have to be smart.
mhm.
You have to be strategic, okay? So the way you do that is on a regular property that's not commercial, and multifamily is in commercial, 5 units or above is commercial property. They're gonna qualify you and then the property. That's when they do the appraisal, yada, yada. On commercial property, they're gonna qualify the property and then you, exactly. What's more important? The property on commercial, the property or you? Property is more important. So if you're looking at buying an income property that already has income, guess where you're gonna qualify? You're gonna use the income from that property to qualify for a commercial property.
Mhm.
Your credit is gonna be looked at, but they're not so much worried about your credit. They're worried. The reason they look at your credit is because they want to know, is this person going to pay me back?
Mhm.
The difference here is this property going to pay me back?
Mhm.
So your credit is not as important. The income that the property produces is more important. And then what about the down payment? Right? These are important things. So if you're looking at $1 million commercial property, okay, don't quote me on these numbers, I just did them to make them easy to look at. You go, okay, well, they're gonna use the income, they'll kind of look at my credit, not a big deal, but now I wanna buy $1 million property, I have to come up with $200,000 down, yes or yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Plus, you're gonna have, I don't know, $15,000 in buyer's closing costs, could be more, could be less, right? So now you're looking at $215,000, which I put these numbers in the wrong spot, but anyway, so you're looking at $215,000 to get into this home. Now, what you do is you go to the commercial property owner and you say, hey, look, I see a property you have, it's for $1 million. You know, I like the property and I want to make an offer on it. Let's negotiate. Would you take 700,000? Say no.
No.
All right. Would you take 750,000?
No.
Would you take 800,000?
No.
Would you take 850? Say,
Yes.
okay,
Probably, you're getting close. You're getting close.
I'm getting close.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do the contract for $1 million. We're gonna do the contract for $1 million. And then I'm gonna negotiate up front with the owner of that property and go, and the difference is $150,000 that we can then come back to me in credits.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we're gonna get you close on the 6th of the month. Okay, because they're already producing income. This property is already producing income. You want to close on the 6th of the month. Anyone know why?
So you can get the money.
so you can get the rent.
Right.
So they've already collected rent for the beginning of the month, it's paid up front,
Mhm.
right? So then you're gonna go to the owner, great, we're gonna close on the sixth, that means I get prorated rent for the rest of the month, which is 24 days, right? So you,
Not only that, but you also get their deposits. If we already, they have given deposits for their units.
yeah,
They'll also be in escrow for you.
perfect. You get their deposits, you get their prorated rent, that's $50,000 credit to you. Boom, already right there. The next thing is deferred maintenance. You can go through the property, say, hey, this thing needs work, we gotta fix this, we gotta do that, da, 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 da. We want $50,000 in deferred maintenance. By the way, they already agreed to cut $150,000 off the price. You're just organizing it in a way that you can use it for your down payment. Does that make sense? Yes or yes?
Yeah.
Awesome. Prorated rent is 50,000, deferred maintenance, you negotiate, this, you also have to negotiate, obviously, this isn't just like, oh, give me money, it's so easy. You do have to do some work, but you can do it with no money. Prorated rent, deferred maintenance, and you're gonna ask for some buyer's closing costs. So we're gonna go, I just put 50, 50, 50, it doesn't have to be broken down in that manner, it could be mixture of numbers here, depending on what's going on. So 50, 50, 50, that's $150,000, we still have $15,000 for the buyer's closing costs that we gotta cover. So that leaves us with $65,000 difference, right? Because we have $50,000 delta between the 200 and the 150, the 50,000 plus closing costs, we're looking at $65,000. So then you go, how am I gonna get the $65,000? I don't have $65,000 in my bank. Perfect, here's how we do it. Whenever you have a loan on something, what can you write off?
The interest,
You can write off the interest. What else is a taxable benefit of owning property?
depreciation.
Depreciation. So what you do is then you go with the $65,000 and you go to somebody who makes a lot of freaking money. And you go, hey, they're gonna pay $65,000 in taxes that year anyway, right? So you go, hey, look, I got a great deal. I'm going to give you the interest write-off. I'm going to give you the depreciation write-off. This is just one way. You could also do sell or carry. There's a lot of ways to get this money. You could also offer ownership, but I'm talking about not even offering any ownership, no benefit in the property, no monthly income, no rent. I'm only talking about giving them the interest write-off and the depreciation in perpetuity, or for as long as that property exists, or you have a loan on it, what have you, right? So then you offer that for $65,000. What will happen is if this is a high net worth individual, they will regain this money in about 2.5 years. They'll get their money back in tax savings in 2.5 years, where they don't have to pay that to the IRS anymore, right? Then guess what? Their benefit is what they're gonna be looking at is I get that for 30 years. So that's how big they're gonna benefit from it, but they don't get any rent, they get no ownership in the property. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Okay, I know that you put the 200,000 as down payment just to put a number, cover. And my understanding was that to buy a commercial property, you have to put 35% as a down payment.
It depends on who you're talking to.
Okay.
So the minimum is 20%. The minimum is 20%. Now, there's some that their minimum is 25%. This is not an institutional lender. This is gonna be a smaller, could be a credit union, but it more will likely be a local bank. A local bank, the local banks have to put money back into the community. So they're more flexible on this. On doing things like this because they have to then encourage development of the community. So this is gonna be a private money, this is gonna be a local bank, something like that. And with that, you can do 20% down, you can do 25% down, you can do 30% down.
Awesome.
It just depends on who you talk to. I wouldn't stop at talking to one bank or one lender, by the way. I would talk to multiple lenders and make them compete for your business.
What are the local banks in here?
I think we have Antelope Valley Bank, or is that gone now?
So,
There's Mission Bank, I believe.
Savings version or something.
Yeah, something like that. Possibly it's a credit union, yeah. Yep, so there are, I would just Google it. Google local banks in Antelope Valley and they'll tell you where they have to reinvest money.
I think Edwards credit union is a local.
It's local, yeah? Yep. That's it for me, guys.
Always coming in with the value, that guy.
Yes.
Always coming in with the value. All right. So. Agent safety should be a top priority. There has been some crazy horror stories, especially for women.
Yep.
Especially for women, being, cornered at their own open houses and things like that. Women carry pepper spray, things like that. It's good to carry. It's something that you can protect yourself with. Clara, I'm sure you got a mean right hook, but the guy's twice your size. You might wanna have something that would help you out, And Clara, I know you do a lot of open houses, right? You still doing a lot of open houses, you're doing at one point. You forgot. So. Use the buddy system, you can arrive early, make sure you check. Around, sometimes I've gone to a house and there was a swatter. So that's another thing too. And I didn't even notice, and then I went around, they were on the other side of the house, on the side, they put up a tent, and I was like, well, I can't do an open house, So, things like that can happen. Make sure you turn on all the lights. Try not to do it too late either, I don't think that one's on here. Make sure your cell phone's fully charged. Check local COVID guidelines, follow market center guidelines. The best times that I found to do an open house is the time you do an open house. There's really no rhyme or reason, as to, when, thank you so much. Okay. There's really no rhyme or reason as to what time works out best. I find that Sunday afternoon, just after church gets out, seems to be pretty consistent as far as the time is concerned. But yeah, I don't recommend doing late night open houses. I think after a certain amount of time, people are just not on the street anymore either, so. Oh, the frog got my throat. All right. Any aha so far? Just getting started. What are you learning? Other than what Thomas just taught you?
Make sure you prepare ahead of time and practice your open house.
Yeah. Make sure you prepare ahead of time is huge. Getting familiar with what to say ahead of time is huge, because if you come in, I can't tell you. First time I did my open house and they came in. Is the house FHA approved? And I'm like, is it cause I was like 2 weeks into, being an agent. Are the sellers willing to do the repairs? What do you know about the roof? What do you know about, is there mellow roofs? What's mellow roofs? I had no idea. So I went to the school of hard knocks and realized I should have prepared better. And figure out what these things are, figure out the taxes on the house, figure out what, even if it's not your listing, right? Yeah.
What advice do you have for the new agent that really just hasn't had the time, but it has that mentality of sink or swim? If you're gonna be stuck because you don't know everything yet and you're fearful of that, I might as just well get out there and learn as I go.
Yeah, that's always the case. I think getting out there and doing it rather than having to know everything before you do anything. Don't hold yourself back like that. Don't do that. I think it's very important to just get out there and do it, not be afraid to make mistakes, not be afraid to look like a dummy when these clients are in front of you, because you're gonna do that at some point, right? And even if you do know everything, you don't know everything. You haven't practiced how to better communicate with people, how to migrate from objections, So get out there and do it. It's okay to make mistakes, but prepare for that. Know the address, do some research, ask the listing agent on the address. What are there any issues with the house? Oh, well, there's piping issue. Okay, well, I wouldn't have known if I didn't ask that question. Or, because I've had people come in, oh, do you know if it's copper or galvanized piping or the pipe is through, oh crap, I should have asked them that. Right, so as you learn, as you get out there and learn, you realize you don't have these answers, now you know what to ask the next agent. Right, you'll remember things more when you've made the mistake
Mhm.
than if you're just trying to remind yourself. So, yeah, just get out there and do it. You know, worst thing that can happen is, yeah, should have had a V8, you know? So, next. Prepare, prospect and pursue. That seems pretty, you know, I like that. Not the same. The difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus. Say it one more time, it's pretty powerful. The difference between big and what?
Really?
Really big.
Is how you manage your time and
Focus.
all right, and who wrote that?
Gary, yeah.
So, what does he mean by that? You can tell me.
Your goals? How's your goal? You're big, or is it really big?
I'll say it like this. The speed of implementation and intent is the key to your successful business. Getting out there and dialing in, focusing and executing in the time of the essence will drive your business in any way, shape.
Can you repeat that? The speed implementation?
Oh, I don't know, I just made it up. Yeah, the speed of implementation, and that other part. Yeah,
It's recorded, so we'll play that.
there you go. There you go. See, I need to write these things down. I'm good sometimes, you know. Even if broken clock strikes twice a day. So the speed of implementation and your intent, it will drive the success to your business.
Yeah, you are.
Nikko Estrada.
I don't know, that was so smooth, you might want to call me Nikko Suave. That's all good, all right. So. We want to prepare them like we were talking about. We want to make sure we are prepared for that open house. We want to make sure we're prepared to have the what? Conversations. We want, yeah, you know, we had, I don't think he's still with us, but we had an agent that was here. He used to go set up his, he used to wake up at 6 a.m., go put his signs out, or sometimes even the night before, he'd say, go put his signs out, just leave them there, and the thing wasn't until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He just put sandbags on, make sure that they were there, start setting up the signs. I'm like, well, what if somebody goes and knocks on the door? Oh, they'll call me. I was like, bro, I guess. Yeah, so I mean, that's extra prepared, you know? And you know, door knocking, doing all that stuff, right? Prospect. It's very, very big. It's a prospect. It's, you won't realize how many times somebody's like, oh, so cool, right? And then, you know, you get in contact with them, or it turns out there, at least one person in that neighborhood wants to sell their house.
Yeah, I think he was his first year of in real estate in 2023, and he closed 20 deals out of the open house.
Yep,
Yeah.
if done correctly. There's this thing called the seven level open house, which talks about what the first level is, which is just putting your sign on the or putting your open house on the MLS and then just showing up. All right, that's first level. Going all the way to the 7th level, which is sending out postcards and making phone calls and getting your signs out and having your sign up sheet and your follow-ups and all this stuff, right? So prepare your mindset, practice conversations. There's tons of scripts in the Ignite packet that you guys got. from what I remember, and, there are open house directions. A lot of things that you can talk about, how to open up conversations. You can watch videos online. Anything that gets you comfortable with how to have the conversation. The best thing to do, I mean. People are there looking at houses, right? They come into the door, hey, welcome, let me show you around. And they are there obviously because they're curious, hey, are you guys neighbors? Or have you guys been looking at a lot of houses? That's just generally what I start with. Oh, it's nice to meet you, I'm Nikko. Have you guys been looking at a lot of houses today? Oh, no, this is actually our first, they'll tell you right up the, oh, no, we're just a neighbor, we just wanted to check it out. So they'll tell you exactly who they are and where you need to engage them. Oh, we're just a neighbor, we're just looking at it. Oh, okay, what made you curious about looking at it? Are you guys curious about selling your house too? Right? Are you guys renting and wanting to move in? It'll start gearing your conversation. Oh, yeah, no, this is the first house that we've looked at. Oh, perfect, ding, ding, ding. That tells me you haven't spoken to another agent. So, that, I love that question. I love starting off with that question. I generally let people walk through houses by themselves. But I will give them the layout during the open house because I want to make sure that if somebody else comes in, I can also give that person attention too. So generally, I'll let them know, this way you'll find the master, this and that, yada, yada, yada. This has been done to the house, new roof, there's, PEX piping, in half of the house, and we have a tankless water heater. No HOA, no Melrose, let me know if you guys have any questions. So, unless, and then when they come back, then I get that second opportunity, once they've looked through the house, you guys have any questions, oh, you guys like it? Oh, we loved it, and this and that, cool. And you mentioned you haven't looked at any other houses before. What does that look like? You guys looking to buy immediately and then you get in there, you can start pre-qualifying that person, right? Kind of doing a mini consultation and then immediately setting up an appointment with them then and there. Now, the problem with open houses is that you have to stay at that open house. That buyer can go out and go check out another open house, right?
Yeah.
You don't want that. You want that buyer like then, right? Speed of implementation. So that's why it's sometimes helpful to either have another lender with you or an agent, because you wanted to go off and show them a house real quick, you could, then you can come back. I've never done that, but that's what that gentleman who set up his signs, the night before, he would bring another person so he could leave off and go go with that buyer. That's not always the case. The way that I've done it is the moment I spoke to that buyer, I'm immediately looking up, it's gonna get a second, another house in that price range, doesn't even matter. And I call the buyer up, I don't wait till Monday, I don't wait till the next day, say, hey, met you at the open house yesterday. I call them right then and there, and this is the best, most effective way to do it. Hey, you know what, dude, I was just thinking about you, you were on my mind while I was over here at the XYZ property. I just saw this other one, and it's kind of about what you told me you were looking for a little bit. I think you and your wife would really love it. Can you meet there in like 15 minutes? Boom, now you're taking action, you're taking action. That shows the buyer like, man, like this, gets things done, right? You want to get in front of these people as quickly and as effectively as possible. By the time Monday comes around, they're back at work, they don't answer your phone call, right? By the time you get a hold of them, it's 8 days later, and they're like, oh yeah, we already got an agent, but they didn't have an agent a second ago. But what happened was they went to work and then their friend told them, oh yeah, my brother's an agent, you should use him. Now let's you. Yeah. Get in there. Week before open house preparation. Monday, you do what?
Select a house.
Easy enough. Tuesday, you do what?
Post online. Walk the neighborhood,
And
invite neighbors to showing.
so. To invite the neighbors on the Friday of the open house, the Saturday of the open house,
You do Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
okay. Wednesday. What's your name in the back?
Sign.
Cassandra,
Cassandra. What do you do on Wednesday?
post online again, install yard signs.
Cassandra, thank you so much. Graciela. How you doing? Welcome. Thursday, can you read Thursday for me?
Yes, post online again, invite, not anything.
Post online again and invite your database.
Yeah.
And then Friday,
Post online again, prepare market statistics, print flyers and door knocks.
so how many times do we post online about our open house?
4.
4 times.
Every day.
Yeah, every day.
I don't know why you wouldn't start, I don't know why it's also not on Monday. Right? I mean, you selected the house. Start getting it out there. Exposure is everything. I was taught this by a gentleman his name is Peter Voog. He's a motivational speaker, and entrepreneur. And I paid him $500, $500 of his time, and then I was also paid like $4,500 to be a part of his workshop. Anyways, so he says that 80% of a product's success is marketing. You could have the greatest product on the planet. It could solve world hunger, but if it's not marketed, nobody knows about it, right? So you can have the dumbest product on the planet, but if marketed correctly, everybody buys it, right? I mean, I can think about how popular some little things became when it was just such a simple concept. Who remembers Tamagotchis? You guys remember those things? You feed your little character, or, you know, like you just feed, you have this little thing, and all it does is it dies if you don't feed it. It's like, oh yeah, it's so much fun. Every kid needed to have it. Right? Pokemon, right? Pokemon cards. Pokemon's another one of those things, kids love them. But there's a lot of, and all it is, it's just, oh yeah, just draw pictures, drawing of monsters on cards. But then you add a TV series with it, market it, and kids are like, yeah, we love this. Right? You put it in front of people's faces. So the same thing is true with your open houses. You want to market it. You want to get in front of as many people as possible, because if nobody knows about it, nobody's gonna buy it. First step. All right, so invite your database. Who doesn't have a database yet? Anyone? All right. So you guys all have command, right? You guys get command?
Yeah.
Like, cool. Did you guys download the command app? Yeah. So on the command app, you can take your contacts on your phone, put them all in the command app, which then comes up on your laptop version. Okay, you can transfer that. So if you have phone numbers in here, in your phone, no, sorry, not your phone, in here, this one, then you have a what?
Database.
Whoa! Crazy. You guys have Facebook? Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Snapchat?
No.
You guys got a database. All it is a database, all that is information from people that may be willing to buy or sell a house. And who wants to buy or sell our house, or could possibly?
Everybody.
That's right. Everybody. So How people are gonna know if you're in the business? What about your friends, cousins, family, your people at work, anybody that your doctor, right? You got your doctor's number, I don't know. Ex-girlfriends, I love pissing them off by showing them my face. So, send them, get your face in front of it. How's anybody gonna know you're in the business? Again, marketing. If you're not in front of your face, if you're not in front of their faces. Oh, I don't wanna talk to my friends because they're gonna think I'm weird. I don't wanna call them and show them my marketing because I'm gonna annoy them. Screw them. They're not your friends if they don't support you. They get annoyed with you sending them stuff, then they shouldn't have been your friend in the first place. Okay, bye. I ain't got time for that. I'm screwed over enough times in my life. I don't need you not supporting my business. But you might annoy them, or they're like, oh man, here's another one of Nikko's things. But you're gonna be the one they call. Because would you rather work with the agent that's consistent in front of your face? Like, man, you know what? If I'm gonna hire somebody to sell my house, it's gonna be Nikko because he constantly pisses me off. He constantly annoys me, but I'm always seeing his stuff, and that's kind of what I want. I want the tenacious seller who's gonna get my house sold because he's consistent. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes or yes?
Yes.
Woo, woo. What do clients like to know? What clients like to know is how's the community? And they want some neighborhood information. They want to know what's local. They want to know what school that their kids would go to. Right? They also want to know, so for those of you that don't know what Melrose is, but there's things like Melrose, HOA, there'll be CCNRs, right? There's restrictions on some houses or some tax restrictions on some houses that'll be extra. They're definitely gonna want to know that. They're gonna want to know if, there's any nuisances in the area. Is it loud? I always tell people like, look, we're closer to Edwards Air Force Base. It's gonna be a little bit louder when these planes take off. I live on M and 20th, so like those things roar right over my house. First time buyer specifics. You want to have information for first time buyers. People don't know what they don't know. So give them what they need. Mortgage information. Pursuant to RESPA, Keller Williams agents, associates must provide an ABA disclosure to the consumer at or before any referral is made to Keller Mortgage. More information on RESPA and the ABA disclosure can be found here. Okay, giving mortgage information. If you have a lender coming with you, better to let them talk about it, right? It's the thing with Keller Mortgage, they cannot show up to your open house. So when you are prospecting, it is important to do what? Build trust and rapport. French words with their silent letters. Rapport. And so an easy way to do that is not sell them, right? It's important to build trust and rapport with anybody that any information that you get. Anytime you get a contact, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So provide value. That's a really great way to build rapport and trust with somebody is to provide value. Another thing I learned from that great gentleman, Peter Rube, and I think this is actually Jim Rohn, maybe not him. But you get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. If you are not that valuable, you don't get paid much. Right? So how do we show value when we're not being hired? What's a good way to show value when somebody hasn't hired you yet?
offer them information, provide them the information. Show that you're the expert. Convince them.
Very good. Coming from a place of contribution is always the right solution. I like that one. Let that one up. He's made that one up too.
Coming from a contribution.
Coming from a place of contribution is always the right solution. I mean, it sounds, I was always gonna say one, but you know, we'll work on it. But it is. If you can show people like, hey, look, here's stuff that can help you, or here, I'm willing to do this work for you. And I don't even have a guarantee you get paid. Do it all the time. Do it all the time. Like, look, I don't really, nobody really makes money, helping renters find houses. Right? But sometimes you build that trust with that person, like, look, I'm pretty much doing this for free. I just want to make sure that you're taken care of. Right? I want to make sure that you build that relationship. And then I've got referrals from those people. Hey, this person needs to buy a house, and now, 4 years later, I think we're ready to buy. Cool. I set that seed in because I was over there.
Show people that you care, because people like that.
People do. People see when you're doing stuff for free for them. They start to feel obligated, and it doesn't even have to be work related. I help people all the time. I'm constantly like the group therapist for my friends. I don't know how many of you feel the same way where your friends are constantly coming to you for advice. Help people move. Show people your value. Capture information and qualify leads. There's no point in talking to anybody if you're never going to talk to them again. So it's important to capture their information. And put it in your what?
Database.
Ding, 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 ding. Gold star, gold star, gold star, gold star, gold star. Wendell Wickham. All right, greet everybody that comes in through the door.
Yes.
Hello. Welcome. Engage in conversation, be positive. Nobody wants to go to an open house and have you sitting down in a chair. No, let me know if guys have any questions. Be positive. Play some music. I love playing music in open houses.
Yeah.
Play that gangster stuff too. They love that. Very true.
Now my husband used to play Mexican rancheras in my open house.
Listen, I think in Lake LA, that's probably a good money shot. Like over there, like, that's all I get. All I get over there in the open house is, and so it's like, yeah, you know what, I should probably want that. Maybe North Daniel, but North Daniel's kind of can get.
I had a customer lead that I called, and his message is a whole ranchera that I was playing. I had to listen to it. I waited. I go, well, it's not that bad. And then it got to the end, so I can read the message. And I say, hey, I love the music. Hey, this is Noel from Kelly Williams. He's calling you back. I can wait. So it doesn't matter.
All like that. That's funny. That's funny. I remember that from back in the day. They used to, hey, what's up? This is Nikko. If you really want to hurt me, you just don't make me cry, baby. Leave a message. Yeah. All right. These are just jokes. I never did that. I used to blind. All right, so engage in conversation and be positive. Provide what?
Value.
Yeah. To get that 2 for $5 deal at McDonald's. I hate McDonald's. Damn, 2 for $5. Know your team stats, know your market stats, and understand personality types. Understanding personality types is probably the #1 thing.
Yes, agreed.
Who can tell me the different types of personalities?
You got T, you got I, you got C's, you got S's from the disc.
Introverted and extrovert.
All of those. All of those. DISC, can someone turn on the camera? Is it still off or is that at 9:28 AM? Okay. It's a good thing my eyesight still works.
Dominant.
D, dominant, I, influential. Right, so you guys took a disc assessment, right, when you guys came here?
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure?
yep.
Yeah.
So. By better understanding yourself, you can better understand others. Understanding that disc assessment and who you're talking to, you might need to switch up your tonality a little bit. Listen, you guys can tell I'm an I just by the way I dance around up here, right? You guys can tell like I'm a D because I can be direct. And I'm like, all right, yeah, nice to meet you. What's going on? I'm engaged. I'm easily to get engaged. S's and C's are not so much all the time. So it might be a little bit, and so you might not want to come in so strong. Right? So you know that when you're talking to a C, he's gonna want the details on the house. He's gonna want to know the tax information. He's gonna want to know what repairs need to be done and is there galvanized piping and when was how many years ago was the roof replaced? And have they done anything in regards to their insurance issues and things like that? They're gonna want to know the information.
Yeah, $25 for peer repair.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Okay, so let me share something about that real quick.
Go for it.
My, was it my first or my second transaction? I learned that lesson the hard way. As you all know in here, I'm a very high D, and I ended up with a C. He's an engineer at, the base. Anyhow, I had no idea, and I had not studied my people. And here I was showing him house number 40 something, and this man could not decide. And I was so frustrated, and I just didn't know what to do. Finally, when I started learning about who he was, I started changing. That chameleon came in where it's like, okay, I'm really tired of seeing this guy's face. I just want to get this done and over, right? So he finally picks the home. And you guys, when I'm telling you, I had to get creative. When I was showing him the home, I had to become the voice of the home. Hey, Steve, this is home, welcome. And he responded well to that, right? Then the transaction came in. And whenever we went through the paperwork, every single word and period had to be gone through with a fine comb, right? And here I thought when I landed, when he said he wanted to work with me, he came in pre-approved for $620,000. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be easy. No, to this day, he was the hardest, most difficult. Like I earned every single penny of that transaction, but it taught me such a valuable lesson, which is to know the personality, who your buyer is, who your seller is, so that it could go a whole lot smoother.
Very good. Yeah, that's good. A C will come in pre-approved without an agent. Right, they'll come into an open house, they'll have the pre-approval already without an agent, they're ready to go. A C? C is,
Analytical.
they're analytical, I forget what the actual, the word C stands for, but each word is, so that there's two different ones. But, I think of computers, I think C, computer, right, analytics,
Yeah.
techie,
Data.
the data oriented.
Yep.
So that's what I want to get from C. And then, S's are 70% of the population. Right, that's your most regular, they don't want to be intrusive, they don't want to be,
Nurturers.
they're people definitely want to use some lower tones, right? They're kind of shy sometimes, not always, but they're kind of shy. They don't want to rock the boat. Where was it?
4, having something to offer the visitors.
Yeah, snacks. People like snacks. These snacks and waters. You can offer them hugs, but people COVID and I don't know, people are weird. S's don't like hugs right away. I comes in, you want to give them a hug, they'll give you a hug. Yeah. So eyes are the outgoing, kind of off the wall people, they don't make decisions very, or they don't, they're very off the cuff. Right, these are what you would consider an A type personality. Right, very direct, very knows what they want, this is what's happening, I need this, quick, they don't wanna talk too much.
Don't bother me with details.
Don't bother me with details, I already know everything.
What's the best way to handle a person like that, direct? And they're demanding, they wanna control the conversation all the time. But they are wrong, and then you gotta redirect them. So do you get it the same level with them like that? And say,
I do.
that's not how you do it, this is how it's supposed to be done, unless you have this, we have to go through this process. Because it's the way to do it properly. You cannot do it this, is it okay to address someone like that? Or you
So-
turn them off by doing this?
So kind of,
Don't
it's,
turn me off
They will turn you off?
in an instant.
yeah, so what you have to, what you have to do is suggest. It's suggestion, it's the power of suggestion. They want, it's always gonna be their idea.
Yep.
It's always gonna be their idea.
Yes.
So listen to this, Listen, hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. Now, while I understand what you're saying, I do see why you see it that way. If I were to give you some information, you were to look it over and it started to make sense to you in another way, would you wanna look at it? Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, cool. Right, all right, cool, no problem. Why don't you focus on getting them into the appointment rather than focusing on correcting what it is that they're saying,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So the other thing is, hey, you know what? I can totally see why you see that. Why don't we take a look at all your options? Maybe later today, we'll go over what you said, as well as XYZ, right? This is what you need, here's the other options. So what ends up happening is that you sit them down and you show them. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, okay, I can see it's like this and like this and like this. I didn't even tell them anything. They figured it out on their own.
And then you tell them, you came up with a brilliant idea. Bam!
You go.
Yeah.
You go,
I see
you
what
go,
you
you
mean.
go.
I'm gonna call it today.
Nikko, can I say something?
No,
So going back to Noah, we don't like to be explained too much. I'm like that, it gets me very impatient, because I always thinking ahead. And so a way to go easier, it would be like, maybe give them their way. Because if you're trying to structure something in your own way, it makes me mad.
right, yeah, you can't tell them nothing,
And I'm gonna give it up.
right? You can't tell them anything. The thing is, but you can, without telling them, you can guide them. Ask questions, they're one of the hardest ones, you can't tell them, you have to ask questions, but they'll tell everybody. They'll tell you, but you ask them questions, and but asking questions is the number one way to communicate with anyone, rather than, you might have the answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and on the buyer consultation, when you ask them, what is really important for you when you thinking of the house that you planning to live on? So
Right.
they're gonna
That's important.
answer, they're gonna give you the answer and gonna make you job easy, so you just focus on getting that information to them and every property that you show them.
Right, and
Thank you.
so it's something along the lines like this, right? Well, somebody might say, well, I know that my house is worth $550,000. And so. But realistically, the neighbor who had a similar house they just sold their house for 500. That wants to list his house 550 over. Why is your house worth 550 over? Or 50,000 more? So rather than tell them, no, your house is not worth 550,000, it's worth 500,000. Let me ask you this, if your neighbor sold their house for 500,000. And there was another house here for 490. And there's another one that's listed right now at 520 or at 500,000. If a buyer was to be looking in this area, what house do you think would the buyer effectively go for first? Is it the more expensive one? When you're looking at cars online, do you go after the most expensive option first, or do you look at the cheaper option and then go talk to that dealer? Right, because a lot of times it'll depend on what house do you think the buyer's gonna buy from? Whoa, I think the buyer will see the value of this one over the value of that one. Let me ask you this, when you're looking online for a car. Online for a car, do you go after the most expensive dealership first? Or do you look at the one that's offering is the cheapest first? Whoa, well, I guess but that's different, it's a car, is it? How do consumers buy houses? Do they see it where? Well, I guess they see it online. Oh, yeah, exactly, they see it online, now it's their idea. But I could have just told them, your house is not worth $550,000. We're not gonna do that, but you ask questions, you leave them. Make sense?
Yes.
You go, in addition to that, too, having a game plan, more or less to let them know, hey, look. If you insist on this, I wouldn't use the word ridiculously high price and everything. If you insist that we're gonna sell this house for this amount, okay? If after a week, 2 weeks, whatever, you don't see any activity on this house, would you agree that should start looking at dropping that price?
Yeah, you can do that. That's like a last, I use that as like just, I do not go into that. Because all it does is create conflicts, and your first 2 weeks, your first week, that is your time to get people in there. You know that in this market, right? So, I mean, I use that as a last resort. What he's saying is bargaining with the seller so that you have. Look, we're gonna do it your way for 1 week, if we don't get anybody in here, we'll change it back. The moment you do that, one, you missed out an entire week or two of clients, and now you look appetizing, which is fine. When you come back, you're gonna get more low balls, because people think you just dropped your house 50 grand. They think you're desperate.
You'll need to know that up front, yeah.
So you could shoot yourself in the foot with that method. The best thing, the best thing to do is get them listed at the price that you want to. Or that they're supposed to be at. But yeah, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you do. Capture information, qualify leads. Make sure you have a sign-in sheet and tell people to sign in. Don't ask them.
Exactly.
Don't ask them to sign in. Tell them, hey, before you guys before you guys meet, you can print stuff out on CAR. There's an open house sheet. And it is for, we have laws now. People can't come into a house without signing something, right? So throw it down on that. Hey guys, welcome. I need you guys to sign in. There's a new law. I don't know if you guys heard about the whole lawsuit with the National Association of Realtors, the NAR. I don't know if you saw anything about that. Oh yeah, I did hear. Well, cool. Then you must know. You probably didn't know about this. This is just, it's mandatory now. Before anybody comes into a house, I need you guys to sign in. I need you guys to do this. And have them sign both. You can also have one. They also have like a waiver thing on there when people come into a house. You can have them sign on that, but that open house one is necessary. Necessito. Oh, use command. So using command, once you acquire these leads, put them in your command. You can also use the app. And remember that you're there to get leads and appointments. But if you're being watched, don't start talking about other listings. Follow up, convert leads after open houses, update your database, follow all attendees, reevaluate the goals you set. Did you succeed? So if you set goals ahead of time and you say, okay, look, I wanted to get 5 numbers. At least, I wanted to get 1 appointment at least. Were you guys able to accomplish those goals? Use your, when you get those into your database, you have your what? What do you add them to?
Opportunities.
where there's the opportunities, but what's something automatic they can start, that I can start getting in touch with them with?
Smart plan.
Smart plans, I need somebody to get it. So in your database, when you put a phone number and an email in there, you have your smart plans. Try to put them in the smart plans. The smart plan you use is the one you use. Activity. Plan an open house. Looks like the all house room. What do you guys have on? Do you guys have a plan your open house page?
So.
Alright. So. We invite a couple of volunteers. Says refer to this participation guide, have them. Find the activity, plan an open house, give them time to fill out the activity. After you've hosted an open house, it's time to go back to the original goals. Okay. Invite a couple of volunteers to share their plans. So where's your plan, the open house? Right here, this is it, right? So we have, what dates and time do you think would be the best to hold an open house? Yeah. Cool, answer those questions. I don't think it.
How long are you usually like, a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours?
7:13.
Yeah.
What's it?
7:37.
That's 7.15.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we normally 2 to 3 hours. Tree to tree. We also go online and see what other people have said. When you're trying to figure out what the best time is. Ask your AI. I love AI, they're great, but they are wrong, sometimes, so be careful. I've corrected my AI a couple times. I know Gary Keller likes saying that, oh, yeah, I got an argument with AI, I won. I don't think it's, I think that. Disinformation, not misinformation, but disinformation is very possible. This misinformed. Just quick answer, guys. And we'll get some feedback from the other.
I'll wait for you to jump exercise before I have them.
You guys ready? Who can tell me what they think the best time is to hold an open house?
1 to 3.
1 to 3 on what day?
Me would be Saturday.
Saturday, is that your best time or is that their best time?
That's the best time for me, because I'm there.
Yeah,
I had a lot of walking on Saturdays from 9 to 1 or 2, even 3 o'clock.
okay, we have most of the walk-ins after 12 on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah. I think lunchtime is a good time. I think lunchtime is a good time. I've had really good success in the later ones too, the 3 to 5. 3 to 6,
How many hours?
do 2 to 3, depending on the day. Sometimes it's best to do, because you can do 2 open houses in a day, 2 2-hour open houses in a day. Sometimes, you know, if you even do it early enough, you might even be able to get 3 in. So you can do a 2-hour one here, a 2-hour one there, and really widen your exposure.
Mhm.
Oh no, I worked for 4 hours on a Saturday, you know?
Is there a limit on the hours that you can have an open house for? Or you can just have it all day? Okay.
Yeah, you could. You could, but, you know. I find, again, you know, it's like. I think people are gonna get there when they're gonna get there. And if somebody can't get in there, you can get a call from them, and you can go do a private show. You know,
I had never done an open house on a Sunday. I always did it like on Saturday, never did on the weekend. It's an eye opener for me, but for Sunday, Christian had a very good suggestion. We were talking with Jenny about it, and then I was suggesting in the morning, and then Christian brought up that, no, remember, people go to church in the morning, so you might wanna do a little later.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good strategy, so, and I'm hearing that is the best time,
Yeah.
also, to do it in the afternoon after.
yeah, but is it bad to do an open house at 10 o'clock in the morning?
No,
Not really.
no, because
Especially on Saturday. I've actually had really good success with those, with the 11 o'clock time on Saturdays. So the best time to have an open house is the time what? The time you do it, the time you show up. So what do you think, what's the second question there?
The question is,
What do you think the price range is? Yeah. Is this on the next screen or something? No.
That's still on.
So what's the best price range?
I guess any price range, but 425 to 700 is probably what we're gonna be looking at.
400 to 720. You got 400 to 700K there. Seems like everybody's on the same,
Yeah.
right? Locally, I think around that price range absolutely is the best price range. What about, what's your next question? How many,
Visitors. How many visitors do you want?
what do you got? What do you got, Wendell?
I put a minimum of 10.
We would like a minimum of 10 visitors,
Minimum.
okay?
That's the goal.
What does 10 visitors do for you?
That hopefully will bring the answer to the next question,
Which is?
which is how many leads do you plan to capture from that open house?
And how many leads do you plan to capture from an open house?
For me, I said 5, but actually that was a minimum. So
That was your minimum?
10 out of 10 would be wonderful.
Oh, man, if you had 10 people show up that weren't working with buyers, that weren't wasting your time and. I mean, buyers with other agents and weren't wasting your time, then man, this world would be an amazing place.
Excited to give you their email and their phone number.
Oh. Sounds like the dream I had last night.
he wants to hire the 10 because these people are he gonna choose not to work with, so.
Yeah, yeah, and people are sneaky, you know, like somebody wrote on my open house thing. Recently, and they're like Leroy Jenkins, which is like a meme name. And okay, see me later. Good to see me. Bye. You're gonna miss the fun stuff. So, and then he put like his phone number is 420 Blaze It. And I'm just like, what do you do? 5? Dude, there's like nothing but adults there. I didn't understand. So you'll get that. If only we were in a perfect world. And people were perfect, like me.
So I learned, Nikko, when people were signing in, and this was before the law came into effect. I would always capture the name, number, and email by letting them know. The owner of the home is requesting that all visitors must sign in due to insurance purposes, right? So that's why I would cut that. Then when they would fill it in, I would grab the clipboard and read it back to them out loud. Because the other thing that they tend to do is chicken scratch and start writing like a brain surgeon, and you're like,
Yeah.
what does this mean? So now putting them in the spot, I'm like, okay, Brian, help me out a little bit. So is that BR? And then you see that they like snap out of it, and you get something completely different, which is now their true email address and telephone number.
The truth.
So, yeah, so if you capture it right then and there when they're in front of you, that's.
That's it. That's it, yeah, whatever works, let me get you, I've heard, using an iPad shiny, and, is helpful. People are more likely to put in an address, an email address when they believe that they have to, right, the thing's gonna check.
Yeah, another thing that we start doing it is like, I have the link for the property. They say, you wanna give me your phone number, I can send you the link with all the picture of the property. And I can send you as well all the programs that this property qualifies for, you want to apply for a loan. And they give me the correct number right there,
Because you came from a place of what?
contribution,
You provided what?
information.
Value.
Value.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good. So, sounds like we had some ahas already right there. Anybody else wanna add any? Aha. Oh.
For me, it's like on the weekdays that you could use, if there's a school nearby, you can do a technique, a Sylvan mission. That's a great, I think it's a great.
You do what?
You can do a sort of like an open house, but cater to the kind of school, to the parents, you know, in the morning and in the afternoon after school is done. So
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. If you have, I mean, if you know you're gonna have a lot of morning school traffic, why not? Right, all just gonna drop off the kids. Next thing they can do is either run to work or take a second to go look at the house.
Get free coffee, no.
yeah,
And
Coffee and donuts, go ahead.
yeah, I was thinking of putting a sign on the front of the house with the open house this Saturday, or this Friday and Saturday. So people that are driving by the neighborhood can see the sign that we're gonna host an open house on Friday.
Right. All good stuff. Recap. Open houses, best practices. Was to set goals, pick the house, prepare and practice, pick the time, prepare stats and be safe. Benefits of open houses, they're inexpensive,
Inexpensive.
inexpensive, they don't cost a lot of money. Then it's a great prospecting tool, it's a great way to get in front of people and talk to neighbors, correct?
yes.
And it has a high what?
ROI.
Oh, love that term,
Yes.
Return of income.
we love it. And what better way to find people that are wanting to buy houses than what?
An open house.
Being at a house that people wanna buy. Finding qualified leads. Prepare, prospect, and pursue. Prepare what you're gonna talk about. Prepare the house that you're going to be doing an open house for. Prepare the marketing. And prepare to kick butt at the open house because you did all the things that led up to having a successful open house. Where are we at today? 10 o'clock? 11? My clock is an hour off. Cool. Started late and right on time.
Quick announcement, you guys, they are doing headshots in the front training room. So if you guys wanna run over there, Justin is already set up with a backdrop and lights and everything.
Before you guys go, I got one thing to say. You should look it up.
Oh, my God.
In your face, nobody.
Hey,
Now,
All right.
we're gonna need to-
this is very important. So you guys have your 10 conversations, 10 contacts out, and 10 handwritten notes.
Yeah.
I give each and every single one of you a $100 bill right now, if you can all tell me truthfully that you've been doing all of these.
Okay.
Raise your hand.
That's not for me, right?
Cool. 10 conversations. 10 conversations are important. 10 contacts added. Adding to your database is important. Now, I give you guys a hint of social media. One of the best ways that I grew my business when I first started was utilizing social media. It's a lot less abrasive, but you can get into contact with 150 people a day on Facebook. Right? You can send out those many messages. Those counts as conversations. You could be out having lunch, talk to the waiter, talk to the bar.
Oh, I do that.
I do that regularly.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Or I had come out, I have my laptop, I got a sticker on the back of my laptop that says,
I sell houses.
yeah, we out here. Real estate expert here. Have a conversation. Go to Home Depot. Hey, no, the light bulbs are. By the way, have you thought about buying and purchasing a house in a new country? So, you can have a conversation anywhere. Have 10 of them, have 20, because in order to actually get 10 contacts added to your database, you're probably gonna need to have 20 to 50 conversations in order to get new information.
Yeah.
But be intentional. Right? And then the social media one's easy. Right? You create one what?
One post,
One post. Comments on
5.
5. What's the last one? One story?
10 likes.
10 like, come.
10 likes.
10 likes?
No, likes.
Oh, 10 likes. One post, 5 comments, 10 likes. Right?
Yeah.
Alright.
Does that mean 10?
If you guys ever need help, let me know. You guys can find me. If you guys don't know me, you can get my number from the front. I'm part of the ALC.
Yes, he is.
I'm the Agent Leadership Council. Yes, ma'am. Pots and pans. How you doing?
This is just between me and you. It's 10 likes.
When you heart a picture on Instagram or Facebook, so you would like somebody's post.
Like,
A thumbs up.
this,
Thumbs up.
this like, a like.
Do you have Facebook?
Pardon?
Do you have Facebook?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you have Instagram?
No.
No. Well, so you can focus on the Facebook and things like that. You can have social media is really important. We'll talk about it. You're gonna be here?
Beware.
Here, after really, we're done. Headshot in the front.
I would recommend you guys go get a picture. Take advantage of the fact that we have an on